Today is Saturday, November 20th, 2021. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for Survivor 41 Week 9.
This is our two-punch and a 1-2 punch of Survivor Fans coverage. We do a recap on Wednesday, and then we hand it over to the super fans for the listener feedback show on Saturday.
I thought you were talking about the double vote off.
No.
I was like, what is he saying?
Yes. Could you hear the confused look on her face?
No, but you could see it.
I definitely saw it. Yes.
Okay.
How many folks did we have this week?
25, I believe.
25. A busy, well, at least in the States, a busy pre-holiday weekend. So that is an outstanding turnout. I'm impressed.
I think so too.
We both kind of expected it to be low this week because a lot of people are prepping
or traveling or...
And at least one of our super fans was supposed to be prepping and preparing for company to arrive, but he snuck off to record some feedback and send it to us. That's awesome. Oh, anything we need to cover before we dive in?
Did you
the roster.
want to mention the roster?
Yeah, Paul added a marker to the visual roster that shows if that castaway has had a food reward within the last cycle. Yeah, the roster updates every week, every time we get an episode, and you can, what did Paul call it? The hamburger, the little icon over there on the upper left.
The three lines.
Yeah. You can go over to that and look at previous weeks if you had some historical question.
Look back and go, oh, who ate that week?
Oh, they got a food reward that week.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
Looking at the roster, we can see Danny and Deshaun, Liana, and Xander all had food this week.
Yeah, all got that great stew. So that's very cool. Thanks for adding that, Paul. That'll really help us keep track of things, too.
Yeah, because that does make a difference to how they perform a lot of times in the challenges.
Or just
if they got food for energy or not.
Yeah.
That's a quick
just
boost.
Think. Even thinking clearly. I think Noelle's been talking about that for a couple of weeks now.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yep. Good deal. Okay to go? Get started? Dive in?
Oh, yeah. Let's see what Pete has to say.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling here. Holy cow! Are you kidding me? Whoa! I'm gonna let out a great big woo! And a little bit of a boo, because I'm very sad that two of my favorites are gone, Nazir and Homegirl Evie. Oh, man. Head scratcher, eye opener, but it was a delicious, very good episode. And I gotta give credit where it's due to Xander for winning that challenge. Didn't think he had it in him there after all that's gone on, but I'm glad he won, and it foiled Liliana's plan there. And I did not see that coming of them being divided into two separate teams and two tribals, let alone a double boot there. Wow, I had a feeling that was going to happen because of the season being only 26 days, but it was a nutty episode. Nazir, what are you doing, buddy? I love you, Nazir. You're such a positive person and a great camp provider, but you seen it coming. Not Dame with Heather, Erica there. They gave you a chance where you could have played the idol there. Why on earth were you buffaloed by Shan and Ricard? And what goes around comes around. You join the one and only James Clement and Ozzy and many others that have went home with idols in their pockets. Crazy. But at least Nazir, I don't think you'll be bitter. And then Evie, I'll give Evie a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt, because the way the edit showed, I really and truly thought, initially I thought it was going to be them two, Xander and Evie and Deshaun blindsiding Liliana, and then when I saw Evie getting blindsided, not only was I shocked, I really thought Danny had brainwashed Xander to flip the vote, but no, and somehow Deshaun stayed true with Danny and Liliana, and see you later, Evie. And to boot, poor Xander didn't see it coming, didn't give his idol to Evie, but maybe that was a blessing in disguise, because Xander's clearly the bigger threat and is going to need that idol. But now, most likely, they're going to all be back together, and I think his idol is going to be wasted because they're going to probably split the vote anyway with whoever. So I don't know what Deshaun was thinking. Danny must have gotten his head or something. But the way the edit looks, guys, real quick, I think Ricard has an outside chance of winning. He is quite the mastermind, and he thought of that move to get rid of Nazir, not Shan. I'm telling you guys, Shan is GOAT rodeo right now. No one would vote for her, in my opinion. Even Heather has a slim chance of winning. She could be the Tina Weston that won it back in season 2, not winning any challenges, but working the social card. Looking forward to how this all finishes out. Can't wait for next week. Take care. Woo.
Whoa. Oh, Pete, you threw me there with the Tina to Heather comparison. I'm not seeing that, bud. Not seeing that at all. Well, maybe that's something that's in the future. I was just looking at the roster and thinking Xander, if he had found that other advantage, he would have been the most powered up player in the game by far.
He was the most powered up player in the game by far.
Well, he is now, right? Now that Shan used her extra vote. But he would have had 2 advantages and an immunity idol.
But he had immunity, an idol, and an extra vote.
Yeah, I'm talking past that.
He was still.
Yep.
Even then.
Yeah, he's definitely locked and loaded. Yep. Thanks, Pete. Oh, next up, we got a call from Christiana.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Christiana from Massachusetts. I have so many thoughts on this episode, so I'm going to try to get through everything. Overall, I really enjoyed the mini tribal dynamics. I thought that the way the fives broke out kind of led to some interesting different circumstances. I thought it was great for Erica and Xander to win immunity. Great comeuppance after being left there on the beach. Starting with the Nasir vote out, I thought that was really smart of Ricard and Shan to make that decision to vote out Nasir, who was clearly the bigger threat in that moment. He had an idol, though I agree with you, Stacey. I think his playing was very one-dimensional, so I don't think he was a threat in the long term, but they can get Heather, anytime. And he had a really good attitude about it, being totally blindsided. And then moving to the other vote out, which I thought was fascinating and hilarious. So first of all, Liana asking for to hold the idol, like, that's hilarious. I audibly laughed when he goes, "Oh, give it to you?" No. Who does she think she is? You've been trash-talking this guy since day one, and now you think that you can work with him and you can hold his idol. Like, okay, Liana, sure. But I have mixed feelings about whether Xander should have saved Evie or not. I think his bet is waiting for the collapse of this alliance that is inevitably coming. It seems like every week it's coming in the previews and then it doesn't happen. And having that idol to protect himself, one vote within that time, because he really doesn't have any true allies. So he has to look out for himself. So I don't blame him at all for not using it. But on the flip side, that would have been, there's very few circumstances where you can 100% know you're voting out one of those threats and removing someone from that alliance. And if he was safe with immunity and he idled Evie, then Danny, Deshaun, or Liana 100% would have gone home, and I think that potentially could have swung the dynamics, but maybe not, and then that comes back to him, and he still doesn't have allies, and he doesn't have his idol. So I don't know, I see both sides. But I did have a question about the extra vote. My friend told me that she heard an interview with Christian from David vs. Goliath where he was saying extra votes carry into the tie. And do you know if that's true? Because the evidence I was given was that in Nasir's vote out, they read 3 votes when they really would only have had to read 2 because it was a 3-person vote. And if Xander had used the extra vote, drawn a tie, follow me, this is a little confusing. So then, if they stay deadlocked in a tie, then that makes Evie and Liana safe. And Xander already has immunity. So then Danny or Deshawn would have gone home 100%. So then they either would have flipped and voted out Liana, or one of them would have gone home. So that would have been like a crazy dynamic, but I don't know if that's true. Curious if you have any intel on that. But I'll wrap it up, and I'm looking forward to what everyone else has to say. Have a great week. Bye.
Thanks, Christiana. I saw similar references to the extra vote carries through when there's ties like that, but I couldn't find a declarative statement on it. The Inside Survivor statistics guy this week mentioned that there were indeed 4 votes for Nasir, but you don't see it in the episode, so I don't know where he got it from.
I don't believe it, because they tell you, you get to use it for 1 vote, and she used it for that vote.
We don't have anything to point to that says you get to use it for just 1 vote. Just like we don't have anything that says you can.
But you don't get to use it for multiples at different tribals. So I don't think. I'm just giving you my opinion. I have no basis for it other than it's what I believe.
Nobody's asking about multiple tribals, though. It's ties within one tribal.
I'm aware of that.
Okay.
But my opinion is that she couldn't use it a second time. And they didn't need to. But I don't think they would be allowed to use it more than the once. To get them, she used it to make sure that they would, that either...
They would be protected.
One would go home, but that they would be protected.
If Nasir played his
So
idol.
she did her, what I think is a one shot then. And you don't get to do it on the revote. Just like Nasir does not get to play his idol on the revote, but even before the vote, because
the thing that's missing,
it's gone, that opportunity.
Okay, got you. That's Joanne's opinion on it.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, the thing that's missing is the definitive statement about how extra votes work, and I couldn't find that. Sorry, I did see the Inside Survivor stat, like I said, where they said there was a 4th vote for Nasir in that vote out, which would then imply that Xander, he could have potentially done that. The other part of it, and I think you were alluding to that, Christiana, is that Xander and Evie talks about this in her interviews, were both sure that Deshawn was with them. And Xander thought he had Danny too. So Danny and Deshawn did a really good con on them in that regard, and Xander didn't think he had any reason to. And with that confidence, with that assurance that they were going to vote out Liana, he went ahead and held on to the extra vote and the immunity idol.
Yep.
So.
Well, the other thing is, you know how when there's Jeff reads the votes, usually he'll say, and that's enough. 4th person voted out, that's enough. But once he can see there's more for that person, he doesn't read the extra votes. But usually they're always all for the same person, because if it wasn't, he'd have read it if it was for somebody else and drawn out the drama. But he didn't say that this week. He just read 3 votes and said nothing about that's enough.
I'll keep looking, because obviously there's a difference of opinion out there on that. And I think I read in the Inside Survivor article this week, they said that that had happened before with Ghost Island. So maybe I can find a screen cap of the actual extra vote text. I'm not positive, but I don't think we saw that with these extra votes because of how they were acquired. They got them when the first time they went to tribal council, and so we didn't get to see the person open it up and read the details, the rules, how long you had it, and when it expired and all that. We just saw the outside lettering that said, hey, here's the extra vote you got for taking the risk.
Well, and rules change from season to season, so something that happened in one season may not apply in another
Yeah,
as well.
That's,
So
I guess that's possible too.
the bottom line is we haven't found any evidence of one way or the other.
Thanks, Christiana. Next up, we got an email from Erin in Canada. Hi, Joanne and Stacy. What is better than one tribal council? Two tribal councils. Great episode. The only thing that would have made it better is if it were 2-hour episode or one of the big power players were voted out. I agree, 100%. That would have made it better. Thankfully, however, an idol was flushed. I loved how Heather made a comment about idols falling from the sky because that's how it feels. People are playing this season. They seem to be handed advantages instead of looking for idols. The edit never shows people searching desperately for idols like their game depended on it. Well, it did for some, but I understand what you're saying. Erica, my fellow Canadian, loved to see her evolve in the game from a lamb to the lion, even though I don't think she'll win. It is nice to see her doing well in challenges. Does Liana secretly have a crush on Xander? Because that's how it used to be in high school sometimes. I was thinking the same thing as Stacy when he mentioned that. I did see something where people were talking about it, and they said in certain parts of the country that was a common phrase. I hate his face. I hate her face. So that was just something that was in the vernacular in a certain geographic area. Deshaun should have voted with his new alliance because I think he is now on the bottom of his old one regardless of how he voted. Next week on Survivor, I think they will be gunning for Xander, Deshaun, and potentially Erica. These people could flip the script and vote together with Heather and get a big dog out. It is big dogs versus the underdogs. Yep. The Shan clan appears to be crumbling. Keep her coming. I love it. If she loses Liana or Ricard, she will become less threatening. Hope you have a great week and that you are as easily pleased as Xander with that stew. That's good. I like that. Thanks for all you do, Joanna and Stacy. Thank you, Erin. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Michelle.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy and all the Survivor fans. This is Michelle from Minnesota. This week was another fun and exciting episode, even if I didn't make the right vote-out pick again. I was surprised that Nasir didn't take his idol with him to Tribal because after he made that comment about, oh, I'm not worried, I have an idol, I figured he knew that his name might come up and he was just going to play his idol. He, like me, was so sure Heather would go home. But like so many before him, he went home with it in his pocket because he had too much confidence that the vote was going somewhere else. I had Liana picked to go home in the other group because that would have been the smartest move. I need to remind myself each week that these people don't make smart moves. I loved the challenge and how they were broken into two groups for playing and for Tribal, and that they had to go to their separate beaches immediately after the challenge was over. They didn't get a chance to talk to each other or anything, which was perfect. When I saw the challenge and that you had to stand backwards against the pole instead of forwards to it, which is originally the way I thought they were going to be standing, I knew that the people with flat butts and skinny bodies would be the ones that would last the longest. If you think about it, if you've got a big old booty, you can't get up next to the pole flat. Your back has to arch, putting more strain on your shoulders and arms along with your back. And it's harder to stand in the correct position for your feet to have a firm connection with that tiny little ledge. Whereas if you're flat in the rear, you can snuggle up to that pole like your partner on a winter night. So I figured either Xander or Erica would win the challenge. My buddy John had given me a heads up with some spoiler info previous to Wednesday, which showed how they were going to be broken up and who was going to be in each group. So looking at that, I figured that those two may be the winners, which factored into who I chose to go home this week. I also factored in who had eaten anything but just a little bit of rice, because those people would be less shaky and be able to endure the physical pain longer. I was so close to being right this week. I thought Heather from the blue group would go home, and in the yellow group, I thought it would be Liana. In both groups, it originally looked like I was going to get my vote-out points for both of them. I was so excited. But then by the time they got to the tribal, everything had changed, and I didn't get either one right. I felt like Charlie Brown after Lucy pulls the football out from in front of him at the last minute for the umpteenth time. Good grief. Boy, Faye, I want Shanna Ricard to go home so bad. Hopefully, I'll get my wish next week. I hope next week is a good episode again. It's the most excitement I get all week. Have a great week, everyone, and stay safe. Ta-ta!
Thanks, Michelle. I don't think it was a spoiler. It was in the commercial, one of the Survivor ads.
It was
showed.
out there on national TV, so it
Yeah.
wasn't really a spoiler, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But, you know, this will probably surprise you, but today I was thinking, you know, if Ricard did win, I might be okay with that. Because up till now, I had been, oh, no, blah, blah, blah. But I thought, he really is playing a good game. And he is very devious. And that is what the game is about, is how to get yourself to the end. And he seems to be playing a much better social game with this group. So that means he learned from his first tribe and adapted his errors before meeting these people.
Maybe.
Because I think he's better liked in this group. You're not hearing people say, I can't stand him, and, you know, but just because of who he is, as far as his attitude, and they just didn't like him before.
You have a similar assessment now to a lot of people. I think I can tell you exactly why. You were conditioned to feel that way about him after the edit that he just got. It's huge.
They showed us.
Now, he could turn around and say something really mean, like
and I would
Jeannie's,
be right back to him. I don't want him to win.
Jeannie's the spare tire, and you know he could pick someone else that he says is a throwaway castaway.
A spare tire?
Yeah, to be left by the side of the road. Remember he said that about Jeannie?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
That helped build a lot of
I was just trying to
resentment
see where you
against
were coming
him.
From.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
The edit will cause us, and I get affected by it just as much as anyone. Mm-hmm. It'll cause us to swing back and forth through extreme responses to the castaways.
That's why they do editing.
Yeah, and it's so powerful.
But it worked because I was feeling that.
Yeah.
That was going through my mind earlier today, and I surprised myself. I thought,
look at the struggle.
I probably would be okay after watching him, you know, maneuver the move, and that was a good move he did for his game, getting rid of Nasir, and that he was able to convince Shan at that. So,
somehow.
in a lot of things, Shan gets her own way in the end, but she doesn't always with Ricard. So that, in my opinion, gains him a little respect as well. So, okay, I just thought you'd be surprised that I felt that way.
No, I'm not surprised at all. As a matter of fact, you can hear that in some of the other feedback here. So let's keep going. I'm still laughing at Michelle and her skinny butt, big butt theory for that challenge.
That's a good theory.
Maybe. I don't know. It's funny. Okay, next up, we got a call from Brad.
Hey, Survivor fans, it's Brad from Los Angeles. Joanne and Stacy, apologies for my audio last week. I hope it's better this week. I just have to say, well, it's over. It's over. All of my conspiracy theories and strings on the wall and corkboards, they didn't pan out, much like the QAnon shaman. Nasir was voted out. That was my USC. I picked both people wrong. Thought for sure Shanna Ricard would be gone. Yeah, or both. I moved to the bottom of the list all in one episode. So that's why I love Survivor. I have no idea how Nasir didn't think to use as an idol. He trusted Shan. That's what mystifies me about human behavior, human thinking, and Survivor, right? I think Danny is very much in the same boat. I don't know how he isn't making bigger moves at this moment, or how he thinks he can build a resume to beat Deshaun at this point. It seems like he's playing a little bit too behind the scenes, and he's trusting too much. So I am going to be a passive watcher now, because I'm out of the fantasy league by all measures. I did better than last time, though, where I got eliminated in the first episode. So I guess that's a win. I hope everyone else does better. And Joanne, I hope Deshaun wins and you get whatever prize you and Stacy have between you this season. Thanks, everybody.
It's called gloating. That's her prize. She was doing it this week already because she jumped so far ahead. You did.
I just gave you the
multiple times.
The stats.
No.
I have 4 more points than you do.
Why? There we are. There it is again. Watch when anyone
That
says
wasn't
just.
Gloating.
Yes. Just is a red flag. Yeah. And Brad,
hey, not like you wouldn't do the same thing. That's what we do to each other. So.
Yep. We designed JSFL to be much like Survivor in that it ain't over till it's over.
That's right, Brad. You don't give up no matter what your score is right now, because in the finale night is where the majority of the points for the season is made, and people come up from some obscure place all the time and win.
Certainly, we've seen surprises. I don't know about all the time, but
well, we've
the potential,
seen it a lot of times.
The potential exists to garner quite a lot of points, even if you've lost your USB 24. So yeah, don't count yourself out yet. Thanks, Brad. Yeah, your call quality was better this week. It worked out better. Here we go. We got an email from J.P. Johnson from the Philly Suburbs.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy. This is my first time writing in after my wife and I binge Survivor and your podcast over the course of the last 2 years. We knocked out the first 18 seasons the summer of 2019.
Wow.
And then the last 22 seasons during the pandemic quarantine and our family leave when our son was born last July. Well, welcome and congratulations on the birth of your son.
And your impressive binge.
My wife and I have kind of gone back and forth on this season a bit. We like the cast and are kind of meh over the twists and turns, but it was something that happened this episode, or more accurately, didn't happen, that finally clicked for us why the season wasn't working as well as it could. With the show set over a shorter period of time, but with the same season length, there should be more time to get at what we loved about the early seasons of Survivor, the day-to-day living in the camp. Unfortunately, it's clear that the showrunners aren't exactly interested in bringing that aspect back, and they have just refused to show us our favorite thing from our binge of Survivor, long scenes of the survivors eating super rich food way too quickly and then getting sick from it, running off into the woods. I think the food reward was a blink and you miss it. Even this week, I have to believe someone must have had to run off to the woods to be sick. Where is the footage? Did we even see them eat the grilled cheese and chips from the last reward? Yeah, we did. They did show that, like, briefly.
Yeah, just a flash. I don't know if we actually saw them eating. We saw them sit down to eat, and we saw them doling them out.
Holding the cheese sandwich, and Evie saying it was better than she expected.
Mm-hmm.
But, okay, I get that it's fun watching them scheme and strategize, but for all of Jeff's talk about how hard and dangerous this season was going to be, I think they are skipping out the actual surviving element of the show. Oh well, at least we have underdog Xander to cheer for, even while my new USB Shahin keeps driving her game towards a ditch.
I like that.
As
good.
Always, looking forward to the episode. All right, thanks, JP, and welcome.
Mm-hmm. Next up, we got a call from Boother.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy, and all you Survivor fans. This is Boother calling in on vacation from Virginia. 2 hidden immunity idols should have been played this last episode. Ricard and Chan did a great job of making sure Nasir felt like he didn't need to play his idol. Those 2 are such good liars. And poor Nasir was stabbed in the back. The look on his face said it all. I am going to miss Nasir. Question: will they put Nasir's immunity idol back in play? And will it be a beware advantage? Wouldn't that be awful? And Xander thought he had convinced Danny and Deshaun to vote out Liana. so he didn't think Evie would be in danger. Xander is not as convincing in this strategy as he thinks. Evie has known she was a target for a while. I did get a vote-off point, so I was not that surprised she got voted off. Also, I wonder if Xander really would have played his hidden immunity item on Evie, since Deshaun's disclosure of Evie blabbering to him about Xander's advantages. It seems to me that Xander is holding onto that hidden immunity idol for himself, and that just makes sense. One more thing I wanted to mention. I don't understand Liana's hate for Xander. I hope the producers find a flashback video for us to fill us in on what caused her disgust. I love this episode, and now we're down to 4 Lulu, 2 Uwa, and 2 Yasu. The next episode will be crucial in determining who will control the rest of the game. It keeps on getting better and better. That's it for me. Bye.
All right. Thanks for reporting in from vacation, Boother. Yeah, I was thinking today that maybe with the 3-hour finale that we're going to get, there might be a little bit of reunion, even though it'll be right there at where they just voted out, or I don't know, maybe they'll delay
Not
it a
really
day
a
or something.
reunion.
Yeah, that is that doesn't meet the definition of reunion.
Well,
But
you never know.
I
They
would-
might do something with Zoom or something like that.
yeah, maybe they're changing things. I don't know.
We don't really know. That's
Yeah.
the bottom line.
The one interesting thing was, this is a slight detour, sorry, tangent, was in the Rebus puzzle this week, Probe said final 3, and I was thinking it was going to be a final 2, but
Yeah.
so it looks like we're going into
could
the
have been-
finale with the 5, and it'll be the classic final 3. So we'll probably get a fire making
or
final
not.
at 4.
He could say things like that just to throw you
It's true.
off.
It's not an
too.
absolute. Not an absolute. Yeah.
I didn't think he said definitively final 3. He just said if there's a final 3 or something. We'll have to
No,
go back and
it
see
didn't have the
exactly
if
what
on
he
it.
said. It did in my head.
Okay. Fine.
Because I thought, is he lying or what?
The thing, sorry, the point I was driving towards was, or the hope I wanted to express was a hope at that reunion time, the 10 or 15 minutes they might give us in the finale, that he would ask her, why do you hate Xander's face? You think that's putting her on the spot too much?
I don't think he'll do
They
that.
put it in the edit, though.
Yes, they put it in the edit, but like you said, she's young, and they have vernacular that we don't understand.
Sure.
And there's a lot of things, or even emojis and things. I'm like, what does that mean? So there's a whole lot being older that we don't get,
Sure.
that the 20 and 21-year-olds would get. So
Perhaps.
Yes.
Yep.
I
That
don't
might be a
think it's
colloquialism
uncommon
where she
that
grew
we
up.
don't get it.
Yeah. All right. Thanks again, Boother. Next up, we got a call from Sophie-n-Leila.
Hi Survivor fans, hi Joanne and Stacey, this is Sophie-n-Leila once again in Texas, calling about Survivor. What did you think of this week?
I really enjoyed this week, and I thought Tribal Council was pretty crazy. I want Xander to carry on and hopefully not get voted out soon.
I know, he is really hanging on, right? I'm so glad he won the challenge and he won the stew, which is, look good. What did you think about Evie going home?
I really liked Evie. I thought she played a good game, but I wish it was Shannon.
Oh, Shan, we want Shan to go.
Shan.
But in that group, it could have been Liana, and the boys just weren't turning on her yet, were they? And what do you think? Do you think Xander should have played the idol for Evie or not?
No, because I think I'd rather Xander to carry on, and I feel like he needed it more.
Yeah. But hopefully Deshaun will see Shan's annoying ways and work with Ricard. I hope Ricard also feels that he is at the bottom of that African-American group. So there's 2 black guys, 2 black girls, and then Ricard is part of that group too. But I kind of feel that he's on the bottom. So I think Ricard needs to just start working with the underdogs and hopefully build a better game for himself, a better story to win. However, if we're going by how nice people are, because that's how I want people to win, then definitely Xander. He's intelligent, he's sweet, he's kind, and I have no idea what Liana was going on about. It definitely feels like she must have had a crush. Maybe he was just trying to focus on the game. He kind of turned her down or didn't notice her flirting, maybe. And that's why she's now so bitter against him, because attacking somebody's looks just really, really weird and really just didn't sit well with me.
Yeah.
And then her audacity to ask, give me the idol. I mean, what a cheek. Anyway, we are enjoying it, right? This was a more of a normal episode. Do you have anything to say about Nasir going home? Because we did like him, didn't we?
Yeah, but I didn't like how he started saying, "Oh, you're going home. There's like nothing we can do to stop it." I thought that was really stupid of him. Although he'd watch all of the Survivor and he'd learned English, he said, so he must have learned how people have played, and it wasn't very smart of him to do that.
Yeah, but Ricard has also watched Survivor, and what was he doing last week with the papaya after he ate food?
Eating it.
Right, so that was totally, I mean, where are these guys' heads? They're obviously malnutritioned and not thinking. Or maybe it's just a guy thing, right? Girls are more smart and savvy that way.
That's true.
Girl power. Okay, take care, everybody, and see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Girl power. All right.
I like that, and I like the different opinion. They think that Ricard is on the bottom, and you and I were feeling like Danny and Deshawn are on the bottom. Or more specifically, Deshawn's on the bottom.
We've seen Shan say in confessionals that Ricard's are number one.
Yeah, over and over again.
So that's not in front of anyone. That's,
Of course, I don't know how much you can really attribute to
and it can pivot on
what she says,
a moment
but it was
in exchange.
in private, you
Yeah.
know, so
I'm thinking he's still her number one, and she just made a major move that acquiesced to what he wanted to
That's
accomplish
true.
goal-wise.
so it could change if in the
Sure.
moment if she were
Sure.
angry at him.
I still think
So, who
Ricard's her
knows?
number one. Yeah, she's not basing it off that Core 4 alliance.
You know what I think is Danny has a way bigger influence on Deshawn than we are aware of. I think because Danny's so calm and Deshawn gets, you know, just like revved so high.
Like he was
with
after that travel cancel. Yeah.
And Danny is just a calming influence.
He's
and
totally
he
chill.
just
He's like-
he quietly just talks him down, and you know, till he's calm, and then he talks sense to him.
I'll do what
know,
you
about,
want.
Well, yeah, I'll do
But
what
this
you
is
want.
what we
I'm
should
not
do.
saying no, but you know, I really think just hear me out. You know, so I think he has a lot more influence than we've given credit for.
Mm-hmm.
So that was
Could be.
my take from this week, is that he's probably the one that changed Deshawn's mind.
He certainly has Xander fooled. Not that that's necessarily a high bar,
Yeah, both did.
because
but-
Evie and Tiffany and Liana all had him fooled too, at least for a while. Thanks, Sophie. Thanks, Leila. Next up, we got a call from Ann and John.
Hi, I'm John.
I'm Ann. John, what did you think of the episode?
It was okay.
Would you prefer it any other way?
Yeah, it was kind of boring with only the one challenge.
Okay.
Immunity and reward. It would be nice if they were separated because it was kind of boring and fast and took like 2 or 3 minutes. That wasn't very exciting. They were just standing there doing like nothing basically.
True. Okay. I just don't like them picking rocks. I think it just has a weird dynamic. You don't get to see anything from it.
Yeah.
John, which vote out surprised you the most?
Nasir, I thought Heather was going to get voted out, but guess not.
At first I thought if Ricard could convince Cheyenne, then that would definitely be the best way to go. But I wasn't sure he was getting through to her. But then I thought, oh, well, Heather's doing her swan song here at the end, and they haven't shown much Nasir at all in this episode, so there's no way they could actually be doing it. And I was wrong, so that was sad. I was ready to be done with Heather. Also, when it came to Evie, I really, really liked her personality. She's just happy and interesting and fun to watch. Even though she was having no food, she was still just a really fun person to watch. So I knew that was coming, and that was sad. I wish there was something that Xander could have planned that out more. I don't think he should have gave her idol, but he should have tried something to figure it out, because you just can't trust that other alliance since they're in power. I hope Xander finds a way to make it. He's the only one to me that I'm at all interested in at this point. And I would love to see less Cheyenne, because she just rubs me the wrong way, because she's just so headstrong and manipulative. And I have known people like that, especially pastors in general, that are like, are you sure you're trying to help out your flock here? Or are you just doing what you want because you're used to being in charge? And so, I don't know. She just rubs me the wrong way. Hopefully this is just her playing the game. I'll try to give her the benefit of the doubt, but it is kind of annoying to watch. But anyways, I understand why they're doing it because it's interesting. John, what else did you think of the episode, or do you have any final thought?
No, not really. I think that's it.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Ann. Thanks, John. I like John's explanation for the challenge there, too. They stood there. It was boring. As action challenges go, that definitely lacks something.
That's right.
Yeah, the tension all comes in who can last the longest. But no action there. Next up, we got an email from Brian Heidik Save Us. Greetings and salutations, Survivor fans. Before I begin, I'd like to pour one out for Nasir. I know at least one of your callers is devastated right now. At its core, Survivor is a television game show. And even though we are aware this game is rooted in deception, we want to believe everyone playing has a fair shot at winning. This week, Season 37 made its appearance on Netflix, and its theme was David versus Goliath. I think there is a part of us all that wants to see the underdog defy the odds and win. Yeah, that's a big part of our culture, cheering for the underdog. What I find fascinating about this season is the role implicit bias has played throughout, and the obstacles it has created for one underdog in particular. Xander's a case study of just how difficult it is to navigate Survivor in 2021 while being on the bottom of the intersectional totem pole. From the start, his closest ally, Evie, whom he confided in with his 2 advantages, seemed determined to vote him out, not because she didn't trust him, but because of his gender. As the men were voted out from the start, Xander was left with no power to vote and no true alliance. Every remaining member of Yase was targeting him had they gone to tribal council. His only move was to keep his tribe from last place, and he did. Unfortunately, at Yase, Xander's reward for keeping his tribe together all the way to the cusp of the merge was an attempt to not only steal his immunity idol, but send him home in the process. Xander, sensing his tribe's betrayal and having it confirmed by Deshawn's comments about Evie, must have been thrilled for the opportunity to work with the other 2 tribes. We all know what he was walking into, yet another obstacle, a secret alliance based on race. Yet again, Xander is tasked with advancing in a game that has tried to punish him for being the wrong gender and now the wrong race. One could argue this partially explains Liana's extreme vitriol toward Xander. To go so far as to say, I hate his face, I could die. This is someone that has been targeting him since the 2nd episode and was reduced to tears upon learning Voce was going instead. I don't think Sandra even hated Russell that much. One must ask again, where is this coming from? What's truly frightening is the degree in which this soft gender and racial discrimination appears to be accepted this season by CBS. In going out of their way to appease the social unrest during the summer of 20, CBS has become more divisive in the process. We now have examples of 2 CBS reality shows that have been engineered with the best, we hope, of intentions, but have resulted in blatant racial division, or more clearly the direct desire to see a non-white player win by its approved players. One has to wonder how many of Xander's obstacles are a result of agenda-driven casting. Is it fair to ask if a male version of Evie, whose pet peeve was men, would ever make it past casting? It's one thing to embrace the richness of diversity. It's another to weaponize it. Well, that's a lot to unpack there. I want to go back just to the beginning where you said we want to believe everyone playing has a fair shot at winning. Survivor has never been fair. There's nothing about it. Before the game starts, you have an even chance, but you can be excluded.
I never thought Heather had any chance. Tiffany, none of that. And Erica, even, there's a lot of people I don't think have a chance.
There are people who get cast because they represent some extreme stereotype, things like that. But it's not, there's nothing, you get to play the game, but once it starts and each tribe works out what their social structure and rules are going to be and alliances get formed, there's nothing that says that that has to be fair. So that's just something that we need to keep in mind when we're looking at this. Otherwise, you can get caught in a big negative spiral.
I don't know that he said anything about fair, or she said anything about
She
fair.
said, we want to believe everyone playing has a fair shot at winning.
Well, obviously she does. That's her opinion, but you're just saying that you don't think everybody has a fair shot.
It's
for whatever
reason.
It's
not. It just doesn't happen that way. You could just be the older person. You could be the person who can't do physical challenges. You could be the person who can't do a puzzle.
You're wrong, and
that's
those people do win.
That's not fair.
Sandra didn't win challenges either in Big Beginning. So, but anyway.
And the other thing about thinking that it's gender based or racial based, well, yeah, there are alliances. There are alliances of men. There are alliances of women. There are alliances of different groups. But
moms, or, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, sure. That can happen. It's not like it's necessarily a bad thing. You could get caught on it, and that's tough for you. You can be on the outside of that. Now, on the racial thing, it's human nature to have in-group preferences. Everybody does. You can take them to extremes, and then it becomes racism. That's like the far extreme of that. But just because someone's got an in-group preference for a group that they're more comfortable with, I don't see that as a bad thing. Mm-hmm. We've had all different kinds of alliances. If you want examples, a hard example of racism in Survivor, again, go to the Julia Carter blog where she talks about what she had to endure just a few seasons ago with, that was extreme, and the show was allowing that to happen. It's like the producers had to have known some of that was going on, and it didn't get shut down. I don't think that our underdog that we want to cheer for, Xander, here is being singled out unfairly in that regard.
Okay, and that's your opinion.
Sure, it is, but I wanted to respond because this stuff is delicate to deal with.
Well, true.
And I want to present a different perspective on it. And the Evie line about pet peeve being men, that is only part of what she said. And she said more specifically men that match certain criteria, like the mansplainers that she's had to deal with, or that have singled her out because she's in a science field and she's had to deal with all kinds of biases against her because she was a woman in that field, and it can just be harder on women. We know that. So,
well, and Liana has said a few weeks back about she was so upset with Xander because she felt like that he kind of talked down to her some, that he didn't respect her or her game or whatever. She had made some comment about that. Mm-hmm. And so that's probably a point of it too. But I think another big part of it right now is that he embarrassed her.
There was that too, yeah, for sure.
By saying, well, no, but you can have the fake idol.
Yeah, blew up her big master plan to become Parvati.
He blew up her moment. So,
exacerbated whatever it was she was dealing with already.
That could color things for her.
Yep. Yeah.
They blew your big move on national television.
Xander's worst enemy in this game, to me, has been Xander. The minute he blabbed about all those things and shared all the details behind it, that put it all on him, everything that came his way. I don't blame anyone targeting him after he gunned up, got all that power, and then lost his vote. Doesn't matter. That wasn't your smartest move. And yep, we like to cheer for the underdogs, but even that move against Liana, from what they're saying, that actually was constructed and created by Tiffany and Evie. Xander played it out. So it was Tiffany and Evie putting that on Liana. Not so much Xander got to execute it, and he's going to get the credit for it.
So like Ricard has ideas, but he has Shan execute them. So same type of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your opinion.
Next up, we got a call from Drew.
Hey, Joanna, Stacy. Hey, everyone. This is Drew. Hopefully you can hear my voice coming through all right. For one thing, I'm on the phone in the car, driving safely, don't worry, but I'm on my way home from the gym. And the other thing is I've been fighting this lost voice all week, which kind of was a struggle when it came to I had a choir concert earlier this week, and rehearsal, and then I'm also doing this Christmas play, and it's just basically all I have to say this week. The main thing I should say is that for the first time in I don't know how long, I scored a vote-out point for Evie. I had her a week or two ago, too, and I just thought I could see her story kind of winding down. Yeah, so I'll take it. It would have been nice to get that double, but I've never been a big Nasir fan. It's funny he said that he learned English from watching Survivor, so I guess he probably would, I would imagine if that's true, then 4 or 5 lines of dialogue, because that's pretty much all Jeff seems to say with some variations. But he played well, and he was a good provider, and he just got clipped by his team. So it was interesting how they both didn't see it coming. So it was fun, and it was an okay episode. It was trending upward a little bit. I just don't really love a lot of the players left. So yeah, I'm looking forward to what everyone else has to say going forward, because as far as JSFL goes, it's like impossible, like I said last week, I think, to guess, especially when they do things like, let's split the tribe in half and go to 2 tribal councils. Though I do love a double elimination episode. I believe I'm on the record as having said that. Yeah, it's just nice to get through some of the stuff. But gosh, it's happening quick. Anyway, I hope you all have a good weekend. And yeah, talk to you later. Bye.
You take good care of that voice, Drew. We want it in prime singing condition.
Quit picking it, Drew.
Next up, we got a call from David.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. It's David in Pittsburgh. Okay, I have a huge group coming over for a Thanksgiving dinner and wine tasting on Sunday. It is now late Friday afternoon. I will be busy all day Saturday, so now is the time for me to be dusting and cleaning. Instead, I'm hidden in my study sending this to you. I want to talk about Xander, my new USB. I switched from Ricard because I wasn't happy with the way Ricard was playing. Although I have to admit, the last episode, I thought he did a good job in changing Shan's mind. But I think for Xander, there's just no way forward for him. I think part of the problem is that he's young and he's just given too much information to too many people. He trusted his tribe mates early on. Evie betrayed him on the 4th day by giving all that information to Deshawn about Xander's idol. She had been plotting behind Xander's back for an all-women's alliance. So when he found out at the previous tribal council all the information from Deshawn, I think that's when his game started to turn. I don't know if it turned for the better or not, but he's gone rogue, and he knows he can't trust any of them. And once again, he saw that the new people they were trusting, Danny and Deshawn, didn't stick to their word. So I don't know if the poor guy's going to be able to keep on moving or not. By the way, for Evie, after she gave Deshawn all the ammo he needed, he voted her out. So, girl, that's called karma, and you reap what you sow. As for Leanna, what is this obsession with getting Xander out and talking about his stupid face? Come on, girl. Every time the camera focused on her saying that, her face had such a sour expression on it. If both of them get eliminated, I just hope she gets eliminated before him, and I will be cheering. You'll hear me all the way from Pittsburgh. Now, here's the only hope that I have. On season 30, Worlds Apart, Mike Holloway made a mistake with his tribe and ended up being on the bottom for week after week after week, and he really had no way to win this game, but he kept winning immunity. He kept finding idols. And in the end, he was the sole survivor. So that's my hope for Xander. What more can I say? If he can be the prom king a little bit longer, then maybe he'll make it to the end of the game. Okay, now where's my pledge and my dust mop?
All right, that deserves a way to go, David. He basically was saying what you said. Xander gave it all away.
Yeah.
When he found all that stuff, he gave all that information away and
gave his power away in the game, his agency. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that we're David's guilty pleasure while he should be doing chores there.
Yes.
Next up, got a call from Cameron.
Hey, Joanna, Stacy, and Survivor fans. This is Cameron from North Carolina. I'm sorry I keep missing weeks here and there. School is in full force, and it's kicking me. It is beating me down, but I'm hanging in there. I'm watching Survivor. I'm making my JSFL picks, and I hope everyone else is doing all right as well. whatever else is going on in all you guys' lives. It's a tough world we live in right now. It's got to be acknowledged, and I just hope everyone keeps trucking. Anyway, so about the episode this week, just only had a couple things that I really pointed out to myself. First off, Ricard being hard of hearing is really cool, and I do think it'd be very neat for him to overcome that, to win the ultimate season if that's what he wants to do, but they made it seem like it was just such a unique thing, and when I think about it, out of 38 other Survivor winners, are we sure none of them have been hard of hearing in some way? I mean, in my own experience, I've just known so many people growing up that have been hard of hearing. My mom, my grandpa, I had a friend in kindergarten who wore hearing aids. I played on stage with a guy, played music on stage, he was a keyboardist and guitarist in a very loud environment. He fully could not hear out of one of his ears. And so I'm not saying it's not something cool to overcome. I'm just saying it hasn't seemed all that uncommon to me that he would be a standalone for that. So Nasir falling in the challenge, I think that was the nail in the coffin for Erica. It looked like when Nasir fell, Erica just could not hang in any longer, and like she wanted to win, you could tell, but she just had this sudden stutter once Nasir fell that she looked like she could not recover back from herself either. Lastly, as far as all the people go, I'm really liking the former Luvu at this point, a little bit of a character analysis. I think the former Luvu are more genuine, wholehearted, kind people than particularly what was left of Uwa in Shan and Ricard, because there were some other cool people. I thought Jeannie was really sweet. I thought JD was really sweet, but what ended up of Uwa is just these two who just have the nastiest conversations to each other, about other people. I don't see how one can go about their whole life going like that, just gotta have a smile sometimes, gotta have a little bit of a genuine personality, but Shan and Ricard particularly, they have a very bitter outlook on things, is my take. All right, Joanna, Stacy, everybody else, don't have much else to say this week, but I hope everyone else has a great week. See you all next time.
Thanks, Cameron. Yeah, you really got to resist that urge to dig into the negativity. It will.
And good job on hanging in there with watching and your feedback.
All right, moving on. We got an email from Jade-n-Christine from Hawaii.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. It's just Christine today. Since we weren't able to record our feedback again, it was my turn to write up the email, and we do have some thoughts. First of all, a great episode with a really fun twist. I love the way they divided up the tribe again for the challenge and for the double elimination. It was fun to see the ones that were so confident have to scramble like crazy when the alliances were split up. They didn't even have a chance to speak to each other, give signals, or shout out a name before going to their separate ways. That challenge looked so painful. All of them were sweating buckets. We have mad respect for Erica and Xander for winning that one. By the way, I was struck with how hateful Liana was when talking about Xander. Like Stacy, I was wondering why she was so bitter towards him until Jade reminded me that Liana is obviously still furious about the way Xander played her and got her to waste her knowledge is power advantage. And let's face it, it doesn't help that he has a really smug look most of the time. We are wondering why the contestants are so hesitant to flush the idols or target those with advantages. In past seasons, as soon as it was known someone had an idol, they would be in danger and forced to use it or get blindsided. Seems like Nasir was confusing having an idol with having immunity. It's not the same thing, buddy. Looking forward to next week and more of Liana and Shan, Alliance of Tears. I hope Ricard is not going home yet. I love to see his evil genius at work. Jade wants to see a more traditional hidden immunity idol. Maybe Erica can find it. Thanks, Joanna, Stacy, and all of the Survivor Ohana, Christine, and Jade. Thank you so much. We appreciate that, which Ohana means family.
Next up, we got a call from Chris.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. Hey, Survivor fans. Let's not waste any more time. Ricard can read lips, and it looks like CBS can read lips, too. There's 2 groups, 2 tribals, and 2 are going home. Glad they enjoyed the sunrise. I like this twist, and I like how much it shows what's going on during camp life. Hey, Joanne and Stacy, there was a Brady Bunch episode where Marcia wanted to be in this group of girls, and when Shan just divided off like that, it totally took me back there. Come along, boosters. I like the tribal council set. I feel like I'm watching Survivor play out on one of those great American amphitheaters, like Shepherd of the Hills or Tecumseh, where they bring local legends to life. And I can't wait for the Survivor Legends Amphitheater musical. It's looking a lot like Revenge of the Nerds, isn't it? Last week, Ricard had those big booger eyes. Admit it, Evie is a dead ringer for Wormser. And now Xander's ready to be Stan Gable. Zan Gable. Heather's going to play the role of Betty Childs. And with that, it's time to vote. Looks like our stay-at-home mom gets to stay at camp some more. And there's an open seat on the Tiffany bench. And Nasir real soon. I'm loving this season. Joanne and Stacy, I love your show and the callers. Thanks, everyone, for your voices and the positive energy that you bring into our one world. I, too, have a Survivor ritual, and one you're going to envy. Since I cut the cord years ago, I've returned to watching Survivor on Thursday nights. So as soon as the credits have run, I can immediately listen to the Joanne and Stacy show. Have a great week, everyone.
All right.
All
Thanks,
right.
Chris. You confused Joanne. There's a character named Booger in Revenge of the Nerds, and so he was talking about how they are similar to the characters in the movie. So when he said booger eyes, he didn't mean from your nose. He meant like the character Booger from Revenge of the Nerds. Oh, you got her good there, Chris. Next up, we got a call from Shahin.
Hi, Joanne and Stacey. I'm back. Unfortunately, I was away on a mini holiday with my girlfriend and couldn't find the time to send my feedback. To be fair, it would have been just bewilderment more than anything over how the season is panning out, but it was really good to hear from the others. This episode somewhat repaired for me what I've experienced as a mediocre season thus far. Shan is really getting on my nerves with her behavioural traits though. Previous pods I mentioned disliking both her and Ricard, but I think post-merge he's had a different light shone on him, and we still see Shan's domineering and stubborn attitude. How she talked down to Deshawn was pretty low. It was a good pickup from the both of you, but something that my brother noticed is how she nods back to people she disagrees with. It is very, very distinct. Her eyes widen quite largely, and she'll nod up and down a good 3 to 4 inches, and it just means, I don't agree with you. So there's also a typical parting shot at tribals, which is borderline narcissism. Another good pickup is the deterioration of Liana and Xander's friendship. Something must have happened behind the scenes for her to be super, super hurt. When a girl says, I hate his face, it usually indicates some feelings on their end. Both of you also mentioned Xander stating that it was his kind of challenge, but unsure as to why. I just did a little quick search, and one of his hobbies is free climbing. So I imagine he would require super high stability over small areas with his feet, and I imagine he has strong rotator cuffs for his arms to reach behind him in that challenge. But let's now get down to the business. Heather hung in there really well, played a part to a T. What I didn't expect was a 3-3 split, and for Ricard to vote for Heather. That result didn't confuse me, but the way we got there did a little bit. Nasir had no social game though, but I could say for a number of players this season, that's the same thing. It doesn't look like it's a very strong cast with that regard. There are a few players here and there that are strong socially and have that game awareness, but I think it's really obvious. There's only like a handful. Danny and Deshawn's conversation on the beach highlighted that to me somewhat. For Danny especially, when he was confused, you guys picked up on it really well. He has no social grasp of the game, and it looks like he just thinks very directly. There's no greys in his gameplay. I definitely expected Evie to go though. It was the perfect opportunity for everyone to eradicate the remnants of Yase minus Liana, and it was made stronger with Xander winning immunity. He didn't need to use an advantage at that point. As you can kind of tell with my vote off expectations, I got both vote off points. I think it's the first time I got a vote out all season, and to get a double, it barely gets me off the foot of the table, but hey, I can't complain for my first season of JSFL. Next week I expect Liana to go. I think they're going to go for her. I hope they do. It will reduce that clamp that Shan has on the game. Thanks for all that you do, and goodbye.
Thanks, Shaheen. I like that extra insight into Xander's ability there being a free climber. That could explain that. Good deal. Next up, we got a call from Rashmi.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy and all my Survivor friends. So, this was a very interesting episode. I was really, really sad to see Nasir go. However, Evie, I wanted her gone, and I got a vote out point for her. I just can't understand Leanna's hatred for Xander. She says she doesn't like his face and she hates his face. I wonder if that statement was taken out of context or she really does hate her. The vote outs. Now, Nasir, I felt so bad for him because he so totally trusted Shan, and like he said that he trusted her because she's a pastor, and the part of the world where Nasir comes from, we do have a lot of faith in our religious leaders or gurus, or so I can see him trusting her, and it also shows how Shan can really dupe people. I know Nasir is such a likable, lovely guy, but he did not have much of strategy, and I felt he was a bit trusting, though I'm sure we're going to see him again. Evie, I'm glad she's gone because I just did not want to see that underwear of hers again. That used to really irritate me so much. And then I went and watched the Ponderosa, and she just doesn't stop. I'll say this, I cannot stand the sound of her voice and the way she talks. She wouldn't let poor Nasir get a word in. It was just her going on and on and on and on. So, yeah, I'm glad she's gone. Now, out of the people who are left, I think I'm going to be supporting Erica because I really want her to get ahead. She is a little pocket rocket and she'd do well. Though I think even Ricard could do well and be the quiet assassin and come out. Xander, I never liked him in the beginning, but he's really grown on me, and he's like this goofy younger guy. Reminds me of all my boys at that age. So any of those three do well, I'll be very happy. Who's going to go next? I somehow feel it's going to be Shan because she started playing so hard, so early, and everybody's going to get to know her game soon enough. And she's just so hangry all the time. I think Deshaun is going to get his way and get her out. So let's see what happens. Looking forward to the next episode. Thank you, Joanna, Stacy, for what you do for us. Bye now.
Thanks, Rashmi. Hangry. Yes.
Yeah.
That is good for Shan,
that
isn't it?
describes it, yeah, for sure.
Somebody get her a Snickers. Okay, up next we got an email from Josh the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacy, no amount of editing tricks can disguise the fact that the Gang of Five may pagong their way to the finale. Hopefully someone will blink first or Xander will go on a run, but I wouldn't bet on it. My other observations. Deshaun's preferred style? Speak only when he wants, do only what he wants. That's true. Was anyone buying the Kumbaya sunrise moment? When the Deshaun breakup finally comes, bring your popcorn. Is Heather the Forrest Gump of season 41? Maybe more true than we realize, huh? Shan is a bulldozer. Deshaun may be a small speed bump in her path. The immunity challenge ended with Xander and Deshaun hanging out together. Right. That's a solid dad joke right there. Hard of hearing Ricard could teach Shan and Deshaun a lot about listening. I predict we'll learn that Xander reminds Liana of the prom king who rejected her. Deshaun's eloquence and speaking style vary with his emotional state. Deshaun swore to never write down Evie's name. Never came fast. Don't brazen foursomes often get targeted next? Note to Deshaun, expressing a contrary opinion isn't telling you what to do. Xander celebrated his immunity challenge victory by doing the robot. The stiff arms, yeah. Ricard was wise to ask Jeff if they were returning to Luvu Beach after the vote. I'm glad the Survivor stew didn't come from a Dinty Moore can. Hopeful Harry moment number 1. Liana wants to hold Xander's idol. I wonder if medical can cure Shan of the hibbity-jibbity. Well, that's what she said. Was it Erica gives her? Erica, the mastermind?
Yeah.
Hopeful Harry moment number 2. Heather asking Nasir to play his idol for her. Ricard says his alliance is high maintenance. Maybe CBS will greenlight a spinoff called Real Tribe Mates of Fiji. Heather to Survivor Gods. Send an idol. Their reply, send a giant bug to attack a juror. And more specifically, Tiffany. When Nasir got voted out, he looked as confused as a goat on AstroTurf. Oh, perfect. We've come full circle on that one now. Shan's perfect theme song, Sinister Minister by Bella Fleck and the Flecktones. Oh, I have to check that out. I like Bella Fleck and the Flecktones. Evie knows that roller coasters are scariest when there's a sudden stop at the bottom. 2 tribal councils, 0 whispers. I like that math. Dr. Evie got schooled. Next, Deshaun targets Ricard. Shan targets Deshaun. Who will get their way? Anyway, that's it from me for now. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy, for all you do. I can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Stay safe, everybody. Thanks, Josh. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Robert.
Hi, Joanne, Stacy, and Survivor fans. This is Robert calling from Canada with my listener feedback. Wow, what a great episode. I was a bit worried when I saw that we were in for another endurance challenge, and I thought we might see a repeat of last week with a challenge that was over quickly, but we got to see great performances from Xander, Deshaun, and Erica, and it was exciting, and that's exactly what Survivor should be. Since Ricard lost, I wonder if we maybe missed a deleted scene where he tried to sneak a bite of their stew when they were done eating. You know, just to try it. I mean, what's the big deal, right? There's some really funny moments this episode, like when Erica asked Nasir if he plays idol for Heather, and Liana asking Xander for his idol. Liana, I think you're just going to have to settle for a fake idol. I also laughed when Erica said it was no secret how close she was with Heather. Well, it was definitely a secret from us viewers. Some of us didn't even know that Heather spoke until just a couple episodes ago. Speaking of Heather, my wife saw that her job is listed as a stay-at-home mom, and given that she's 52, I can't help but think that maybe she should retire or see about getting promoted to a stay-at-home grandma. I guess a mom is a job that never ends, does it? I got to give Heather some credit for her performance at Tribal Council. I guess she had Nasir feeling comfortable enough that he didn't play his idol, but I'm not all that sure that Nasir is that great at picking up vibes from other players. I thought I was going to get 2 vote-off points, but I had Heather going home, so I lost one there. And on to the next Tribal Council. I wasn't sure if it was going to be Evie or Liana, but I felt fairly sure, given the interaction that Danny had with Xander, that he blew his chance at blindsiding Evie. It seemed like he was making it pretty clear to Xander that that's what he wanted to happen. And I wonder if Xander had an inkling that might happen, but decided that now they're getting too close to the end of the game that he can't afford to play his idol for someone else. What do you guys think? Anyway, look forward to hear everyone else's feedback, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Thanks, Robert. Yeah, in the interviews, Evie's really clear that they fully thought Danny and Deshaun were with him, like we were talking about earlier. So they just got bamboozled, just like Nasir did, by Shannon Ricard. Danny and Deshaun pulled a number on Xander and Evie. So it's just that simple sometimes. Thanks, Robert. Next up, we got a call from Rebecca.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Rebecca calling from Northern California. I really liked this episode, and I have to say, I was left with a lot of questions. I spent a lot of the episode going, why? Why? So here's my first why. Why does everybody hate Xander? Why so much hate for Xander? He's a nice kid, and nobody seems to want to do anything with him from the very beginning of the season. His tribe was so against him, and now it seems like that just keeps going on and on. Liana, why is your hatred for Xander so intense? What did he do to you? I just see him as a hardworking, loyal, cool guy, heart on his sleeve, and no one wants to work with him. That must be so frustrating. Okay, another why. Why do people ask to use other people's idols? Liana, do you really think Xander doesn't know how much you hate him, and you could pull a Shay play of, can I hold your idol? No, he's not going to say yes, and you're not Shay. And no, you can't hold his idol. Okay, another why. Nasir, why tell Heather she's being voted out? You have literally just made it possible for her to not go anywhere. You have given her the time to maneuver. Why not do a blindside? Why do you have to get all sympathetic and be like, sorry, Mama, but you're going home tonight, and yeah, I just wanted to let you know. No, you don't tell people when you're voting them out. All you're doing is giving them time to rally and get you voted out. It was just too smug. I feel like your daughter was shaking her head and going, oh, Dad, Why are you being so smug? Why are you not playing your idol? You're in a tribal council of 5 people. Nothing is guaranteed. If you have something to make you stay, play your idol. Okay, and speaking of smug, Evie, why were you so smug? That smug little smile during tribal. Why are you self-assured that these people who will not work with you are going to vote out someone other than you? And Xander, why not play your idol for Evie? These people have proven they do not want to work with you. And another why, as just why would you not play your idol for Evie? Why would you play your idol for Evie? She's been so dishonest with you. I just keep thinking of Xander watching back the season and being like, wow, she was never with me. So that why, and Xander, I'm glad you didn't play your idol for Evie. She had to go. It was time for her to go. She was too smug, playing too many people. Okay, kudos for Shay for listening to Ricard. That was a smashing blindside, and I was watching it thinking, well, that's how it's done. You don't say anything, you keep it way under the radar, and you just crush it. I still think that these two are playing the best game. I don't think they're going anywhere soon. I do not want them to go anywhere soon. I really like the way they're playing. Okay, my last thought, my USB Danny. How you doing, pal? I'm a little worried about you. Maybe you're just playing a super quiet game. Maybe you just have like a really great alliance and you don't have a lot to say, but you seem a little quiet and you're not doing all that great in the challenges. I'm a little worried about my USB Danny. All right, that's all I got. You guys have a great, great day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Rebecca. Next up, we got a call from Noelle.
Hi everyone, it's Noelle calling from Albuquerque. What a lot of great gameplay in that episode. See what happens when they eat? I thought the producers learned their lesson years and years ago that if the castaways don't have food or water, then it's not great TV, but I guess they needed to learn it again. I think they were just self-conscious about making the game shorter, and so they really wanted to make it look like they were really miserable even though the game was shorter, but it just didn't work. I think I'm coming down on the side of I don't like the shortened game. I would prefer to see them go back to 39 days. That really feels like the sweet spot because I don't feel like we're getting a lot of content about individual players. Like we've gotten like backstories, but a lot of the backstories we've gotten were people getting who got voted off before the merge even, except for Shan, I guess. I was all prepared to really love that episode and say how thrilling it was, but I was not pleased with the outcome because Nasir and Evie were both so likable. Wanted to see them stick around longer. I wanted to see the majority get decimated, but I guess it's not going to happen, at least not in last night's episode. I liked how they split out the random teams for the vote out. It's just sort of frustrating because it feels like they've really put in a lot of effort to coming up with twists that will make it hard for any kind of majority alliance to maintain power for days and days and weeks, except that every time they implement one of those twists, it ends up benefiting the majority again. And so it's really frustrating to see things play out that way. I mean, especially probably for the producers who are, the whole point was to weaken the majority. The whole point of this twist was to weaken the majority, but I did like that they split people up randomly. I kind of would like to see a season where they do that for the whole entire game. So at the beginning of the season, you've got 18 or 20 players or whatever all on one beach, and they're not in defined tribes. And then every single reward and every single immunity, they just randomly draw rocks or whatever and split into random teams. I think that that would make it really interesting to see who got voted out that way, because a lot of the time it's just so boring before the merge. It's always keep the tribe strong, vote out people who don't perform in challenges. It would be really interesting to see if that dynamic was challenged at least. Let's see. There's so few people left for me to like in the game, so I'm really bummed out. I did pick Evie as my new USB, so now I have no USB again, which is fine, I guess. I wanted to pick Xander, and I want to cheer for Xander too, because I really am enjoying his really clever moves, but something tells me he's going to break my heart, so I don't know. We'll see if I can get on board with somebody at some point. I'm not liking a lot of the people that are left, and I kind of am thinking maybe that's because the game is so fast that I'm not seeing enough of their personality, but who knows? Everybody have a great weekend. Bye!
Thanks, Noelle. Next up, we got an email from Jack in California.
From Foodgate to a double elimination, we have had 2 decent episodes these past weeks. For the episode 2 weeks ago, I would have also been pretty upset If after losing the grilled cheese reward, someone who won it comes over and automatically thinks they have the right to grab a piece of papaya right after eating the sandwich. If the reward wasn't food related, then I wouldn't have been so upset about that. I understand how Erica was upset with the drawing of rocks, since the past 2 times she got the short end of the stick. However, I think Xander made the right decision to sit out and was kind of hoping he would find the advantage, since he was definitely looking for it. What a way to quickly get the puzzle completed, Evie. That was less than a few minutes, and that challenge was already over. I was wondering when or even if Ricard would share the fact that he has a hearing disability, and I think they showed that nicely with this recent episode. All of the immunity challenges that involve balancing on a really small platform, all post-merge challenges, look like a very hard thing to do. If I end up on the show one day, I will need to practice this, since that is where some of my struggle would be. It makes sense that both Evie and Nasir were the vote outs, but I did like watching both of them and was hoping to see them go a little bit further. Next episode, with what the preview shows, it seems like Ricard and Deshawn are in trouble, so it would be safe to assume both of them are safe. I had Evie as one of the 2 vote outs this week, so I finally got a vote out point, even though I did like her gameplay. I even considered her for my new USB, but didn't go for that. Instead, had Nasir as my new one. Didn't work out for me, though. If you don't hear from me at the next listener feedback, it's because I'll be with family for the holiday. Hope you all have a great Thanksgiving, and I look forward to what the others have to say about this double elimination. All right, thanks, Jack. Up next, we have audio from Jill.
G'day, Joanne and Stacey. Up until this last episode, my favourite Survivor moment of all time was Malcolm and the 3 amigos voting out Phil Shepherd at that tribal council when they all had immunity. Well, that was until this episode when Nasir goes to clap at the end of the immunity challenge and misses, and the look of confusion on his face. Honestly, I've watched it, I don't know, hundreds of times in the last couple of days, and even now I can't even talk about it without tears in my eyes. It's going to take something pretty special to topple that moment for me. What else happened this episode? Do we know what Heather does for a job? If whatever she does, she needs to quit that and get into acting. That was an Oscar-winning performance in Tribal Council there. Sad to see Evie go, but her days were numbered. And Xander, he's in trouble if he loses immunity, and once they get rid of his idol, he's in a bit of trouble. I think Leanne will do everything she can to get rid of him. She really doesn't like Xander at all, does she? It was a good episode for Ricard this week. He is really showing to be the mastermind that I think Sian thinks that she is. I think from the moment that I changed my USB to Sian, she hasn't had a good episode since. I probably don't have much more to add this week because everything just paled in comparison after Nasir's clap. So thanks for everything, Joanne and Stacey. Look forward to the feedback show. Happy days, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, Jill. I don't think I picked up on that. I mean, I saw that he was still having some trouble with his right hand, but I didn't realize that he wasn't able to clap. I have to go back and watch that. Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California. This was a good episode, a frustrating one because it didn't end up like I wanted it to, but a good one nonetheless. So here are some thoughts that I had while watching this episode. First, why is Shan calling Erica a mastermind? Have we seen that? I feel like that's just a red herring for her. If Erica was truly a mastermind and had any power in the game after turning back time, I think we would have seen it. I think that Shan was just looking for a scapegoat and Erica was it, so she tried to convince the others that Erica was just really dangerous and strategic so that they would do what she wanted them to do. I thought the segment regarding Ricard's hearing loss was interesting. I have a bilateral hearing loss, and it's about 50% gone, and if I don't have my hearing aids in, it's a struggle. And a little side note, add a COVID mask to that, and communication just gets ridiculous. Then you take the mask off and the hearing aids fly out of your ears because they get caught on the ear straps. But I'm off track here. We called that segment Ricard's Spider-Man segment because of the echoing way that they portrayed the effect of his hearing loss. Playing Survivor with even a unilateral hearing loss like he has definitely adds an extra degree of difficulty, especially when you consider nighttime and darkness and all of the whispering that goes on. He really seems to be managing the situation well, though, and I'm impressed. That's not easy by any means. So Jeff is now just saying, come on in, instead of the classic, come on in, guys. And I was thinking, I don't think Jeff needed to take that moment at the beginning of the season to address his use of the word guys. Does anybody remember that season or two around, season 9 or so? I think it was when Jeff decided to abandon his baseball cap and then wear the cowboy hat. He could have just rolled with it like he did then, and we wouldn't have been the wiser. I mean, did anyone ever complain about the cowboy hat? I mean, it looked weird, but, we just all went with it. So I guess what I'm saying is, just like with the cowboy hat, his little change to just come on in isn't such a big deal. After the immunity challenge, I think I have just come to realize that Leanna is just a mean girl. Now, I understand being competitive. I'm a very competitive person, but she just takes it to the next level. She can't get the best of him, so she just kind of makes it personal. I think it's always just a better look if you can dial that back. And finally, I just had to laugh when Uncle Jeff asked the group during tribal council why they knew who had all the advantages. Really? He had to ask that? He's the one that allowed it to happen. Those silly phrases that they made everybody say shined a huge light on all of those who had immunity idols. So what did we learn from this, Uncle Jeff? Too much interference in the game by you is not a good thing. Anyway, this was an exciting episode. The people who left the game were not the ones that I would have wanted to have leave the game so soon. But it is what it is. Can't wait to hear what everyone else has to say. Until next week. Bye.
Thanks, Jen. Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul in Louisiana here. So, Leanna now takes my top spot for the player that I will toast good riddance to when she gets booted from this game. My Survivor ritual, or I guess I should say our ritual, is to have a glass of wine during the show. Maybe even 2. Definitely 2. And sometimes when fun things happen, we clink glasses. Anyway, just what the heck is going on with Leanna? Is it me or did she just experience a super bad edit? Because wow, this episode was not kind to her at all. I wonder how poor Xander feels about watching all of that. It's not his fault that she looked like a fool when she bumbled so badly when trying to steal his idol. She did that all on her own. Well, with a lot of help from Shan. And now she's trying to sort of blackmail the idol from him so she can feel better about him? Is she insane? And do you not have to wonder where she came up with that original idea? Leanna is a follower, not a leader, and bless her heart, she doesn't even realize that she's only a page behind Heather in the I'm Not So Good at Survivor book. And then there's poor Nasir, who had no clue at all that he was just being strung along to be voted off. I'll still admit that I found him to be quite enjoyable, probably because he had a childlike quality that I liked. And why couldn't Heather understand why Nasir didn't want her throwing his name out the way that she did? Isn't that ironic, don't you think? I mean, she just about had a cow when she found out that her name was being used as a decoy. But I wonder why Nasir didn't notice that something was wrong when Heather didn't say that she used her shot in the dark. With all of that doom and gloom about her being the one leaving, what did she have to lose? That really should have given him enough concern to play his idol. And come on now, Jeff, are we actually supposed to believe that you can't figure out why everyone knows who has all the idols and advantages? I was under the impression from the start that those bizarre phrases existed, so that even Heather or Leanna would be able to follow the idols, but I guess not. As for Xander trusting Danny and Deshawn, I think in the end they may have actually done him a favor, since that core won't break from the inside. They may have betrayed his confidence, but Danny and Deshawn left Xander with an idol still in his pocket. Now, with that said, as much as I hate to admit it, I'm honestly thinking that Xander can't possibly win. Everyone but perhaps Erica dislikes him. This guy is practically a goat himself, and for no good reason. He's like a fully functional goat. Bizarre. And yes, I know I just said that the core appears to be unbreakable, but I'm really buying into the whole Deshawn has a target on his back thing. Xander, Erica, Shan, Ricard, and Heather could very well team up against the core by voting out my new USB. Shan's obviously had enough of him, and won't Heather just be head over heels about it because she can be the swing vote? But if anyone can screw something up, it's probably going to be Heather. When she told power-hungry and paranoid Chantel that she could possibly be in danger if she used her advantage for her, I nearly spat out my wine and ended up choking for about 2 minutes afterwards. Heather, best keep that mouth of yours closed. So yeah, I'm thinking that Deshaun is in big danger, even though it appears to be telegraphed in the Next on Survivor clips. Occasionally they do give away the vote off, so yeah, he's going to be my pick. So everyone have a great Thanksgiving if you're doing it. Otherwise, just have a great week. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, Paul.
All right. We're both just staring at the roster. What are you thinking as you stare at the roster?
Just a theme. Never attribute to nefarious evil what can be explained by simple stupidity.
Okay. Profound.
I don't know about that, but it's just something running through my head.
Okay. Well, I hope Paul is wrong and that Deshaun does not go
That your
home next
USB
week.
does not go home. Yes.
But definitely the possibility exists.
Yeah. Or that, like, who was it was saying that they'll both be safe, and then, Shan and Danny will get voted out or something like that.
I just keep hoping that Danny and Deshaun, I think they're on the bottom. Maybe they're not, and maybe that's all been misleading. But I keep hoping they will break away from Shan and Liana and Ricard and pull in the other people and do something different, shake it up.
Yeah, well, something triggers them to have that, and it's Danny that you get saying it first, and the next time on Survivor that he wants to get rid of Ricard, I believe. Wasn't it Danny? That's what I had in my head anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they're because Danny and Deshaun are both standing there with Hawaiian slings like they were getting ready to go fishing.
Well, they realize he's a threat to keeping Shan with them. I think, that they are at that realization that, wait a minute, she's really tight with him, and we're going to end up on the bottom if he stays in the game.
Just like Nasir did.
So I would, I like how Ricard is played, but that would be an exciting thing to happen.
The face-off, the showdown.
Yeah.
I got to think Danny and Deshaun are going to get outmaneuvered.
Well, that's a distinct possibility, but and because of what the trick they played on Xander last week, he's less likely to believe them now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to work against them, unfortunately, when they kind of needed each other to overthrow what appear to be probably the more skillful players. When you have Shan saying that Erica's a mastermind, she's basically trying to plant that seed of fear. She's trying to use the fear fulcrum to make sure that Erica gets voted out because she senses a threat there.
Well, if Deshaun really did decide to jump ship, then they could take control. Deshaun, Erica, Heather, and Xander could take control with his extra vote.
Possibly. Again, you don't want to underestimate Ricard and Shan.
No, you don't. But like I said, if they had that, they'd have 5 votes to 4.
They would have the raw materials, yes. I just don't. I can't count on Xander to figure something out.
Play it out right.
Yeah, he could get tricked so easy.
No, but Erica and Deshaun could help him with that if they pull together.
Yes, I think that's a possibility. But like you just pointed out, Xander has no reason to trust Deshaun.
That is true.
Now he's shown
he may not have a choice.
Great flexibility, and he pivoted back and worked with Evie when he didn't want to.
Yep.
Because in Tiffany and Evie's exit interviews, Evie confirmed the same thing Tiffany was saying, which was he didn't want to talk to him after they got back from that tribal, and Deshaun had outed Evie for sharing all the details on the advantage and the idol that he had. He didn't talk to either one of them. He just stonewalled them. But then this day 17, he turned that around. He said, well, we got to work together, so let's make this happen. So he's not inflexible. He is keeping... I was going to say he's keeping doors open, but he closed it and then he opened it again.
Well, here's the thing. If they did have that discussion of wanting Ricard out, trying to pull the other people in, I think Erica and Heather I think they'd have a good play to say, hey, forget Ricard. Let's just get Shan out.
Let's make it look like it's Ricard and let's take Shan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because really, Shan doesn't like them. She's made that clear.
Heather would get a chance to act some more. That could be fun.
Act like she was going home or something again.
Or act like it's Ricard.
And hey, she's there to entertain her children too. So so that would be good for that. Anyway.
Yeah.
We digress.
Well, that's why we're excited for the next one.
Well, yeah, there's so many possibilities that could happen. And because this does kind of smirk of the voting blocks, nobody's proven yet that they're an unbreakable alliance. Now, they might this week. If those 5 do stay solid and they don't try to shake it up, then okay, then they've got a solid block there. But we haven't seen that so far.
Yep.
So anything goes.
How about a JSFL update since we weren't able to do that due to the extra vote out on the scoring?
Congratulations to the 186 people who gained a vote-off point for Evie and 26 for Nasir.
28 it says.
I said 26. Never mind. 27 people lost a safe point for Evie and 125 for Nasir. There were 16 USBs lost for Evie and 14 for Nasir. And Jean N. from Arkansas is still in first place with 42 points.
Way to go, Jean.
Okay, for the side challengers, with 38 points, congratulations to Michael and Rebecca for being in first. 37 points, Cold Mike and Jeremiah. 36, Jay Kindred. 35 is with Parker and Stacy. 34, Randy. 33, Justin. And 29, Drew.
All right. We want to thank everybody who took the time to get their thoughts in and share the predictions today. We enjoyed that. We appreciate hearing from all of you. These listener feedback shows have been great. We're getting to have some really good, solid discussions and to share different viewpoints. I also want to give a big thanks to Kim and Remy for your donations. We appreciate that. We appreciate your support, helping us with our operational costs here.
If you play in JSFL, don't forget to make your Week 10 selections for 1 person voted off and 4 people who you think will still be in the game at the end of the episode.
Hey, Joanne, how are you doing on safe points for your JSFL?
I am a little concerned. I can only choose Heather and Erica 2 more times.
2 more times?
And
how many more episodes?
4 more episodes.
Where you need safe points?
Man. And the only person I have that I could use every week from now until then for 4 times
for safe
would be Deshaun.
All right.
Because I've only used him safe twice. But all the other people I've used 3 times. So I'm going to have to do some maneuvering.
All right.
To make sure. But it can be done. It can be done.
Should be exciting. If you want to join us in the listener feedback shows on Saturdays, you can call and leave a voicemail at 206-350-1547 or toll free 844-643-8737. You can record your own audio and attach it to an email or type up a quick text message and send it to us to Joanne and Stacy Show at gmail.com. Feedback's due noon Pacific time on Saturdays, and we ask that you keep it under 3 minutes.
So anything else you wanted to add about the show, or are we wrapping this episode up?
We are good to go.
All right. We'll be back on Wednesday with our recap. And for those of you that won't be tuning in before then, we wish you a very happy Thanksgiving.
Have a good one.